So for my setup, I'm using Oracle Cloud. Why? Because it's free. It lets you put four CPUs or CPUs and 24 gigs of RAM. I'll be using Ubuntu. There's 24 gigs, and I'll be using the processor, which is Ampere. There is a documentation. I'll quickly share you that, which talks about the same. That's the one. It's coming up. If you just Google for always free resources from Oracle, you will see that these are the shapes which can be used for free, and it comes to four OCPUs and 24 gigs of RAM. So that's how I have dissected my environment. So I'll be running a master node with this configuration, two OCPUs, 8 gigs of RAM, and 100 gigs of storage. Worker node 1 and worker node 2, one OCPU, 8 gigs, and 50 gigs of storage each. Once I do the install, I don't want to use a key pair, so I have enabled the root login and I've set password authentication to be yes. Once that is done, I'll start with the installation. I'll quickly log in to Oracle Cloud. Select the data center where you want to deploy. I'm using Sydney. Configure networking first. So networking is straightforward. You will have to assign a network. So I'll just say network 1, given an IP 10.0, sorry, /16. That's the IP I want to use, and hit create. Once you do that, I already have a configured one. I don't want to create a new one, so I'll use this one. Once you do that, you configure a subnet. So as you can see, my VCN is 192.168.0.16, out of which I've created two subnets, one private, one public. So I'll come here, I'll just show you how it is done. Subnet 1, I'll give it 192.168, one of the subnets, and I'll say subnet as public, and I'll create. Same thing for private. The only difference is I'll just say private over here. Once that is done, I'll go to my internet gateway, create an internet gateway because the machines would need internet. So that's how the internet gateway is configured. In my routing table, I have my internet gateway. If I just show you, so if I just quickly show you, I'll create a route table, give it a name. Once that name is given, it will actually create a route table, but we don't need to do that. We have a default route already. What we need to do is we need to create a route rule. So over here, I'll say internet gateway. And if my machine wants to speak to the world, it can use internet gateway 1. That's how I use this. And that was the piece which we configured. The last piece is security. So the default security is this. And what I have done over here is that I've just allowed my router network, but you can do 0.0 in your case, like open the world to have access. However, it's not a good practice to open 0.0. How do you do that? It's just come here 0.0.0.0 and just say all. Once you unclick add, make sure you have an egress rule for 0.0 similarly. Once that is done, our infrastructure is ready. Come back to Oracle Cloud, come back to the burger menu, say compute instances. You can see I have three nodes already running. One is master, the other two are worker nodes, but I'll just quickly show you how it is done. So I'll just say worker node 1. You come down, you select the free tier. Since you want to use the free tier, you select the canonical 20, and I just want to, this is the main part. You'll select the Ampere and it says always free eligible. So you come select, so four CPUs and 24 gigs is the maximum. So just, configure accordingly. That's how you choose it. You can select your network from here. I'll use Klabs. The public network is already selected. Once you do that, make sure you save the private and public key from here. And then if you have a custom disk which you want to specify, you can specify it from here. But by default, it's 50 gigs. And then hit create. Once you hit create, you would see that it will be created in less than a minute. And then this machine should be reachable. I'll just check from my end so that I can show you. So I'll just ping it and it's reachable. Once you do that, you can SSH, which will do it now. You can use your command prompt. So the private key which you downloaded while deploying, use that one. The command is SSH -I, private key. The default username is Ubuntu and the IP address, the public IP address. Once that is done, you would see that you're connected. And now we'll do the installation. Okay, the first thing we need to do is some basic settings of the masternode. So the first thing is, if you want to set the host name, just for example, if I want to say instead of K8 masternode, I just want to keep a name as K8 master. So that's the command. The other thing which I want to do is that I don't want to use a key-based authentication. I want to use a username and password-based authentication. So probably I'll just quickly go to my SSH D config file and make that change. So if you quickly see here, these are not mandatory changes for the masternode, but I just like it this way. So these are the two settings. If you look here, password authentication as in yes, and permit root login as in yes. So I'll just say yes, remove this, and sudo systemctl. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, my bad. It should be restart. Yep. The other thing we can do is make an entry in the host file. As you can see, it's talking to the old name, which we don't want to use. We just keep it this way. We need the IP address, so the command to see the IP is this, and the IP it got is this one. All right. So if I just ping get master, it should be talking to this. I think we can remove the old entry of 127. We don't need that. We just want this to reply. Yep. Now I'll exit and I'll just log in without. Before we do that, there's one more thing we need to do. We need to change the password. We need to change the password for the root. Oh, sorry. We will just change the password. So new password. I'm changing the password because I'll change for Ubuntu also. That's a default username. UBUNTU. Lovely. I'll exit. I'll exit. I'll clear. So I'm back on my desktop. Um, uh, Now I will not use the key and I can just use the root. Yep. And I'm in. You can do the same thing via putty. Now you can connect to the putty without the key. Quickly, I'm connecting to via putty. Yep. You can see I'm in. So I hope you can see my screen, but for the installation, I'll use this screen only because it's much better as compared to putty. Let's do the installation.